Bring it to order.
You want to do the roll call?
I will. Wendover.
Present.
Snyder. Bertles. Brown.
Here.
Dubravik.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Got it.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comments. At this point, we just want to introduce who's in the public here. For all of you that may or may not know, this is John Eel. John Eel lives in the local historic district, and John lives in Wendy and Greg Moore's old house, purchased it from them several years ago.
403 East Cass Street.
And John has submitted an application to be a commissioner with us. So, John, is there anything you want to say, or any comments you might have, or anything?
No, not really.
Okay, he's here to kind of observe today.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
After me.
I hope you're excited.
Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the December 8th minutes? And do we have any edits or changes? Nope. If not, is there a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no public hearings today. All right, so new business. Mike, let's talk about where we are with the new commissioners and Pat Bertles and Ed's renewal, et cetera.
His renewal is set. Pat Bertles is set. He's on the commission. Will not be here tonight, but my understanding is he will be here next month.
He had to leave for Florida today.
Left for Florida today. So that's my understanding of that. We have one position open, and we ironically have two wonderful applicants. So along with John, we have Ann Engels, and she lives basically just across the street, just up the block a little bit and across the street from on Cass Street there.
So she must have just submitted her application this past week?
And we actually got hers and John's basically like the same day. She dropped hers off on January 6th. Yours was mailed to Marcus, and basically Marcus put it on my desk on January 7th, so he probably had it for, he brought it in the morning, so...
What is Ann's address?
Ann's address is 420 East Cass.
20.
So just up
2 blocks
the
up?
block, and 2 blocks up.
And do you know her?
No.
So
Do you know?
Ann actually came and sat in on our August meeting.
Right.
And it was the August meeting. She actually came and sat.
Sure.
So, and her husband also submitted an application to sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So we've got a similar situation there. We've got one opening and 2 good applicants. So, that'll be up to Marcus to, tell us how it's handled.
So basically what Mike's done is today he sent an email to Marcus and Pesha, the city manager, and asked him, what are we supposed to do? Because we've never had 2 applicants sent in for one position, because we really don't know what the procedure is, that the city has got to kind of dictate the procedure because it's a commission, city-appointed commission. So because ultimately it has to go before the city council in order to be approved to be on the commission. So that's why we got Ed and Pat in, because they had their application in last month, and we were able to get them approved by the city council on December 16th.
And John Pat is an architect. He's a licensed architect.
Okay.
And the basically the ordinance with this basically states that, it is highly recommended that an architect sit on the Historic District Commission.
Right.
So
Did you get the exact wording on that?
the email I sent you folks,
Yeah, he did.
I quoted word for word.
I guess I didn't see that.
I will, when we're done here, I'll be more than happy to bring it up and just print it for you real quick.
What is the word recommends the
It
architect?
basically states an architect should sit on the commission if available. And
If the
the
architect's
exact wording,
available.
it's basically one sentence, but I'll, I've got
I
it.
only asked because the question was raised last time whether legally we had to have an architect.
No, I don't think it was legally. I think it was just recommended, yeah.
And I've got it where I can literally print it for you in a minute, Ed.
I think it's important. Dean was invaluable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no,
You
well,
know what I mean?
no
well,
question.
Yeah.
It's that knowledge, the building knowledge, understanding, building codes, building materials,
Yeah.
it's crucial.
Very valuable with work applications.
Yeah, because we don't have it off the top of our heads like they do.
And it's in the
Kind of
bylaws that we have to have just a certain, it's limited at a certain number of commissioners?
7, I'll have to read.
7 is
if
a
we
mi-
can have an alternate.
If
because-
it's a larger city, it goes to 9, but with our size community, 7 is what's recommended.
Right, yeah. And what's really unique, and I mean, it's a great problem to
Just have an odd
have,
number.
is, the Zoning Board of Appeals
Okay.
has had a vacancy now for over a year. And the Zoning Board of Appeals allows for an alternate. So we do have an alternate there, someone that, can't make it as frequently. So we do have an alternate who has sat in. But here we've had a vacancy on the Zoning Board of Appeals now for over a year, and all of a sudden, we have 2. So it's, it's kind of a good problem to have.
Sure is.
Well, we just need to resolve it and find out exactly.
As soon as I get word, I will email all of you.
Yeah, we didn't know that was coming, so that was a interesting surprise.
Well, it was a surprise on January the 6th.
Yeah. Okay, so
Being in the audience.
but Pat did get approved at the city council meeting, and he will be here in February. Let's move on to the annual report. Did everybody have a chance to read through that? I thought it looked really good, Mike. Thank you for doing it.
Very well done.
Mixed up the pictures again this year, just trying to mix them up a little different. And it's not a difficult report to do because essentially pages 1, pages 2, pretty much there are no changes. So the first 2 pages of it are, pretty much almost word for word from year to year because it describes the district and et cetera. And then when you get to the 3rd page, there are things to change, but it's not, it's not a overly difficult report to do.
I think it'd be important, just one comment I wanted to make is maybe for everybody to take a good look at activities that we proposed, and let's talk about them maybe by the April meeting. I mean, you all could certainly talk about them before then if you'd like. I will be gone February and March. But if you want to talk about them in April, for sure, to determine some priorities for this next year. It'd be nice if everybody had a priority that we could address so we could still meet and still get some things done this year.
And there's nothing,
Be
to
proactive.
my knowledge, that says in April, if we handle this tonight, there's nothing in my opinion that says in April, we can't amend it.
Yeah.
Let's amend the activities for 2015.
That's fine.
And can very simply be done.
But we need to come up with an action plan.
Well, the only thing I would say is that we have a couple times, just on the fringes, discussed the bricks, and I think that's something that could certainly be addressed a little more strongly this coming year,
What we've done, I think, so far,
flagged at least at the
The bricks?
city commission, right?
The
The
bricks.
street bricks.
Street
or the-
bricks. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I think what we did is we sent a recommendation to the city council that any future street work that gets done should be done with bricks.
Right.
But are you talking about going back and doing actual repair, like doing
Yeah,
more than
repairing
that?
the potholes, because after it was brought up to them, they did subsequent to that, they did do some pothole filling, just patching, like in the interim of, well, this isn't on our agenda now, but we'll go ahead and fill in your potholes a little bit more with a little more asphalt type, whatever substance, they're filling in with. So, that made it slightly more drivable, but it's still, an eyesore and it's still a mess. And then like now this year, this late fall going into winter, there's another one that now is just huge over there.
I guess the question is...
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think we even went so far as we found the bricks, we located the bricks and recommended it to them, and...
If I might make a suggestion additionally, for 2015, would it be possible for the Historic District Commission to take the lead in activities, to take the lead and go back to the City Council and say, let's form the task force for Cobb's and Mitchell? I mean, clearly that's going to...
we got that further down on there, and what I was going to mention is I did send an email, like I said I would last month. I did actually ask that question to Marcus and to Jerry and said the HDC would like to take the lead and participate on a task force in order to find
There's no reason we can't start it now, and we need to convince the council. I think that we should, under activities proposed for 2015, I think we should add that.
Yeah.
Because certainly the timing is such that in the year 2015, push is going to come to shove from what the city manager told me a couple weeks ago.
Right, and we've been discussing it at the last several meetings in 2014, so we need to keep on.
Well, I think that would be a good way...
Could we add that, Mike?
Why don't we, for the time being, under activities proposed for 2015, why don't I add that as number 10? Take the lead, develop a task force to essentially, as you've said before, and I'm trying to think the wording that we've used in the minutes before, but, essentially help, market, help move forward with...
To help determine the future of the
sure.
building,
Absolutely.
So if that's all right with you folks, I will add that as item 10.
But I think we also need to add as number 11, the brick street repair.
We might as well, as long as we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that we want to urge the city to do the actual repair work with bricks.
Repair or relaying. I mean, I don't know that they'd want to go that far, you know what I mean? But certainly some areas that could be done.
As a priority.
Even this, what was it, sorry, I'm not sure the time frame. I think it was fallish, maybe. Maybe it was even summer. There was some, one ads in the newspapers, whatever, about young people wanting jobs, but you had to be like 18 and older, and I think it was for lawn care work, that kind of a thing. But, for instance, picking the bricks, that's unskilled labor. It requires no talent whatsoever, just someone to sort of guide a small little crew of, you could have teenage kids out there doing that, as long as they're 18 for legality and insurance and all those other reasons. They wanted 18 and up, for lawn work, but it's kind of a similar sort of thing that to, pick bricks, and even if it was the help of, digging out the holes in the street.
Seasonal help.
Yeah, which would be probably more affordable than, for some of those pieces of the work.
Now, are we going to recommend this just with
Let's use jail.
There you go. Yeah. I didn't think of that.
Free, that's free. They're free.
Yeah.
I mean, we were working on the Dancing with the Stars, and they had a guy from our local jail out there helping us. He was awesome. I mean, why can't we tap into that?
Yeah.
The city does.
Are we talking about today?
Okay.
Bricks.
The city does.
Yeah, I know. Are we talking about brick street repair only within the local historic district, or were you thinking, within our jurisdiction then?
Right.
I will add that as item 11.
Yeah.
Item 10, we'll add the task force on the future of the Cobbs-Mitchell building.
That we want to be an active or lead participant in that task force.
Right.
I don't know if we can call the shots on it to organize it, but we want to take an active lead in it, maybe we should say,
Sure.
or an active participant, play an active participant role in that. I know that it's somewhere on their agenda for this, but we'll, when we get down to that, maybe you can give us a brief update on what you know, Mike.
Yeah, I hope to hear more just this week on some of that. If I could, and I don't need this immediately, but obviously any type of street repair, gets added to things for our Department of Public Works. If there are specific locations that you're obviously more familiar with than I would be, maybe
That would be helpful.
email it to me,
I mean, for
or...
salvaging the brick?
You see what I'm saying? Just
Some of
if,
the
I mean,
repair locations.
probably the areas...
Where it's filled with cement,
Sure.
you know?
But if
Well,
you're...
there are some areas that kind of
there's one that's a
rough.
fairly large
Oh, it's huge.
hole
It's a-
now.
Yeah, it's a canyon.
I mean,
you
it's
know.
certainly got to know where it is.
You know?
I mean, you
Right,
have
if
to
you
just
drive
go up
street
the
once, you know.
Mason Street area and Shelby
Yeah,
and
Mason, Shelby.
Mason and Shelby.
Mason and Shelby are the...
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
That's the thing, it's really...
Primary
So
area.
it's more the,
area,
it's
you know.
more the north-south routes, well, those two in particular.
Well, there's one east-west stretch there.
Sure.
What is that street?
Um,
Wait, Mason
I think
goes
that's Spruce.
east-west.
That's
isn't it?
Is that part of Beach?
No, Beach is, like, there's Beach.
Beach is
which
east-west.
into Mitchell Street.
Okay.
And then you wrap around the Mitchell House and on that north side. Is it
So it's on the north side of the Mitchell House? Okay.
Yes.
Art Stevens, well,
yes,
his mother lives on that street.
yes,
Okay.
I was gonna say Art lives there, but no, he doesn't anymore.
right.
That's his mom.
But yeah, it would be good to reference those streets, so
There a lot.
It's a problem.
I guess anybody that's has some input on that, to just send that to
Yeah.
Mike so he can clarify it. I think it's good to pinpoint the streets.
I mean,
though.
I'd even be happy to, as far as volunteer time, to go out there. I mean, I'm sure you would want some official city oversight, but to say, this is a reasonable brick. This is what I want them to look like, If they look worse than this, don't take them. If they're better, because they have to finger through the bricks to pick them, but...
Specifically, what we would probably do is Ken Payne, who is the streets supervisor, he'd go for a walk with you,
Yeah.
because I know we did a survey of the downtown sidewalk pavers, and the DDA pays for those repairs, and they have used seasonal help to reset. And, but, everybody wants it done in front of their business, but Ken actually went around and he measured and I wrote down, and we can tell you to the eighth of an inch.
Is this area within the DDA district?
Pardon?
Is this area within the DDA district?
No, it's not.
Is it outside?
No, it's not. You'd know it, it'd be another assessment or
Block
tax.
short of the
tax.
DDA, right?
Pardon?
It's a block short of the DDA, right?
I believe so.
yeah.
I believe so.
All right.
Okay.
You ready to move on then?
Anything else with the annual report?
Yeah.
Just what was that gentleman's name again? The man with the road?
Oh, he is the city street supervisor, Ken Payne, P-A-Y-N-E. And Ken's great. Like I said, when the weather breaks, I can guarantee you set a time, he'll go for a walk with you and take notes and...
Okay. Otherwise, other than adding those two items, are we okay with letting the rest of this annual report go? Does anybody have any other suggestions
I
right
think
here?
it's a good summary.
Yeah.
Very good, Mike.
One thing I want to mention is interesting from the last year's annual report was I checked, and the number of Facebook hits that the city Facebook page, or the number of friends it has actually grown by a few hundred. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That people are, I'm not personally on Facebook, that there are people who are actually following it. And
Do you mean the city's website, or do you mean something
city
specifically for the...
Facebook page. I'm
Okay, the city
talking about
page.
the Facebook page. Yep.
I know the HDC page has been enhanced this last year. Okay. Do we need to, we don't need to vote on this, do we? I think this is just a...
I don't think we need to. I mean, if you wish to, great, and then we're covered regardless.
Okay, with the 2 edits?
With the 2 edits.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2014 annual report with the 2 edits.
Is there a second?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, election of officers for 2015. Okay.
Before we begin that, man, you in the past have expressed a desire to step down at some point here. Part of that being you're gone for some months of the year. But your more recent thinking is you'd be willing to do it another year?
Yeah, I'd be willing to do it one more year. Although I am gone, but...
Could I make a suggestion at the same time? Since you're going to be gone, though, for those first 2 months, I think we should demonstrate to the council that we do want to take the lead and appoint someone to the Cobbs and Mitchell task force at the same time to elect officers, so that that appointment is made by this body tonight.
Well...
Because what happens if the council decides
something
to form the task force next month or
Right.
within the month, you're not here.
Well, you all can vote on that.
If we hold a meeting, oftentimes we've not held a meeting.
That's true.
And I just think it would be good at this time when we're all here, when we're doing the officers, let's show our leadership in that.
We could. I don't know if we can have, I don't know, maybe we're not limited to just one person off of HTC.
Right. That was our recommendation to them in the first place.
Yeah, right.
Was that at least one person from this group.
Right.
Doesn't mean there can't be more for various reasons even.
How do you all feel about that?
Just as we're thinking
That's a good idea.
of election of officers, I thought that would be, this would be an appropriate time.
We're going to do it anyway, right?
To do, right. To say, let's
I think
get
it's a
this
good
started.
idea. And then we
And
don't,
throw it out there on the table.
Right.
well, then we don't kind of forget about it. And not that we really forget, but yet,
It's
okay.
showing that we're being proactive again.
Right.
Right. Instead of they don't hear from us for a few more months.
Let's deal with the election of the officers first. So, unless anyone else would like to be president, which I have no problem with that, if anybody would like to volunteer for that position.
I move that Nan Taylor be re-elected chair.
I'll second that.
I'll third it.
Now we need a vice.
No. It's unanimous.
Now we need a vice. Because our vice president was Dean DeKreiger. And we don't know for sure if Mark is willing to stay on as secretary. I think we could assume maybe he is, but we don't know.
I think we can elect him without him being here.
I think we can, and I think Mark would be.
That's the danger you run for not showing up.
Well,
That's right.
I don't think we've overburdened him with work.
The vice president, basically, the job duties are you just fill in when the president's not here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's not much there.
We've tried to make it painless.
Yeah.
So Mark Snyder.
Mark
Secretary?
is going to be secretary.
Oh.
So is there anybody that would like to nominate themselves to be vice president?
Are either of you interested?
Not particularly. I think you'd do a
Aren't you gonna
fine
do it,
job,
Jill?
Ed.
No. I think Jill would be great,
I think she would. So would Ed.
but you all would be great.
Dang it.
Come on.
Do I
Okay.
take that as an affirmative?
So I would like to make a motion that Jill Brown be vice president.
Okay.
Oh my
I support
gosh,
that.
Guys. You're terrible.
And Mark Snyder is secretary. So, that's it for the officers. So now we need to vote on them as a slate,
As
correct?
a slate.
Okay.
Could I please take a vote here?
A roll call vote?
We were going to do a roll call.
Should.
Bertles? Snyder? Brown?
Yes.
Brozak?
Yes.
Wendover?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes. Passes.
Passes.
Okay, let's talk about Cobbs and Mitchell and the foreclosure update, and what...
Well, are we gonna do the,
Well,
let
this
her
would
do the,
be- Yeah, should we do this as new business, or should we do this as...
I'm going to say let's just do it as old business.
as part of the Cobbs and Mitchell topic?
Yes.
We could do that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Besides,
Yeah.
I've got another slide here.
Okay.
Just for this,
So what's the update on that?
The update right now is twofold. Number one, we have heard nothing new from the attorney as far as a court date set. We certainly have not received any of the taxes due. And in fact, I checked this morning, the owner of the building, December is the first month the city utilities have not been paid. Doesn't mean they won't be paid, but they've been pretty diligent about paying their water and sewer bill all along. And it has not been paid to date. Doesn't mean it won't be paid, but I just obviously knew you would want to know that.
And that is
Because
the
hot
water...
heat system. You know, they've got to go a good full 3 months of not paying it before it would be shut off. Owen has asked, you know, the attorney, and I have heard nothing today, hoping to hear today, and I will do this if I hear something from the attorney tomorrow or the next day, I will email you all immediately.
The foreclosure has been filed according to the city manager. It is legally filed in court. Recently. Last we heard they hadn't been served yet.
Right.
So
They hadn't been served, and I know attempts were made,
Right.
but that's why I'm waiting to hear from Owen and the attorney. Owen has been the person that's been communicating email-wise with the attorney. And
I've got to assume they've been served
I would assume...
if the city manager said that the foreclosure has actually been filed.
Okay.
So either through physical service or legal publishing service, they've been served for that to occur. My understanding of the system.
So, needless to say...
Yeah, I think we need to verify that,
Well,
Mike.
and we need to stay on this. Mike, if you could
Yeah.
let us know. And
Right.
the other thing that becomes a danger here, as you're talking to the city attorney or Owen, is not only does the city water supply need to be continued to heat that building, or it has to be all shut down, but the utility has to be paid as well. And of course, we have no way to know. We are not privy to that.
You're talking the electrical.
Correct.
Gas, well,
Gas.
probably not.
Gas.
Gas.
But it's a very dangerous, I mean, you could have a very dangerous situation if the water were still being supplied and the gas were shut off.
pipe freezing.
Sure, yeah.
We've
Be a
dealt with
mess.
that. Yeah,
It'd be a mess.
a huge
It would be a mess. I mean, that would cause darn close to irreparable harm, or could, in a building like that.
Well, so do you have any new information, Mike, at all then? Nothing?
The only actual new information I have is that as of today, the utility bill for water and sewer has not been paid for. The bill that was due at the end of December
Yeah.
has not been paid.
Okay, but we don't know for sure if they've been served and we've had no communication with them?
To my knowledge, I know we've asked for more info, but we've not had any new communication since what I read to you I have not received any new communication since what I read to you last month, and that's why I, of course, asked Owen to communicate with the attorney and tell us, is there anything new?
Okay, what about the city council? Where does it stand with them? When was the last time they talked about this? What was their intent moving forward with how to deal with the foreclosure process and the task force that has been recommended to them?
I don't typically sit in on their meetings, and I got to be honest, I don't read their minutes, so
we need to know
if this
that.
has been discussed, I'm certainly, what I'm going to do is the minutes from this, I'll be doing here in the next day or two, so that the minutes of this meeting will be in front of council next Monday.
Okay, let's do this, and I have no problem doing this. Let's make a decision who is willing to serve on this task force, any and all that are willing, and I'll get their names. What do you think about this idea? I'll send a letter to the mayor and the city manager saying that we are very concerned about the future of this building, and we have heard that the December utilities have not yet been paid. We are concerned that the other utilities might not be paid. We're concerned about, what's going to happen as a result of that, and that we don't understand where we are with the foreclosure process, and we are strongly recommending that they create a task force of which these HDC members are willing to serve to move forward, to take some proactive steps to secure the future of this building for the community. I don't know any.
You could add to that this body would like a report at each meeting specifying any developments. And we should also note that the utility bills for the city are public record. Mm-hmm. In other words, if I don't pay my water at home, mm-hmm. Or my garbage at home, you can find that out. And I think we should make that public, put that in the minutes.
Yeah. So
that, we're asking for public information here. Any court proceedings are public information. Mm-hmm. Okay, if the foreclosure has actually been filed, and I have no reason not to believe Marcus, we'd like an update, a brief update. What we cannot ask for here are discussions between the city council and their attorney on legal matters. So in one of the many meetings they've had lately, closed-door sessions with the attorneys, they may well have discussed this.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Okay, and, if we or the task force become involved in that, we have to understand that that is not going to be public information, and that information does not go on the record in a closed-door session. It'd be very unusual for the historic district to get involved in something like that, but it could.
Can they at least tell us that, though? So that we're not, beating our heads against the wall here trying to get answers that we may not be able to get. It'd be nice to at least know that.
Well, there are some legal, obviously the owners have legal recourses as well.
Right.
And there may be a point in negotiations where the city would be keeping that very close to the vest. Mm. Okay? That indeed the city attorney and their attorney are talking, and, the last thing they want is that to appear in the Historic District Commission minutes or something. Understandably. Please, I'm in favor of open government, but I understand the need to do that. But I think your idea, which is kind of a loose form perhaps of a motion from us, ought to ask for a monthly report to us to keep us updated
Because we're always asking them for information, and it's like we're constantly pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're part of, we may all be volunteers, but
It's
we're
our
part of the city
jurisdiction. That
government.
building's our jurisdiction.
It is.
It is.
It is.
And we are supposed to be,
Yes.
charged with preserving historic structures in the city of Cadillac, particularly within the historic district. So we, you know,
Attack me.
what's that?
I said, we're all at him at once.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Well, no,
you're not the culprit, Ed, here.
So, no, but I think that, you know, and we've made that clear, I think, with our past requests, but I think we need to send a formal letter again, and I think we need to address it to the mayor and the city council and the city manager, and we'd like monthly updates, and, you know, I guess we don't have to say, hey, if this is going on in closed meetings, maybe if you can at least let us know that much, but I don't think that's on a line, and I do think we need to say, as we've discussed in the past, because I know there has been discussion about a task force, we need to move forward with this, that we can work with the current owners, the attorneys, whoever we need to work with, just to start making some positive steps to preserve this building for the future. And I think we could recommend those HDC members that are willing to serve on that task force, and I can include that in the letter, if everybody's good with that.
Yes.
Okay, who wants to volunteer? I will.
I would.
I can be part of that.
All three? Good.
Do you want more than 3?
Doesn't matter. It's almost a matter of whether you want to or not. It doesn't make any difference at all.
I'm in.
Okay. So I will make that included in the letter. I think maybe we could have a quick motion on that. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, one thing that, in accordance with what we asked the council before, that we have one member designated to be on the task force.
But we don't know how they're going to select.
Well, right.
So I think if we just say we have 4 of the members of the 7 right now that we know are willing to serve and give the names, then we'll let them figure out how they're going to pull this together, because I have no idea how they're going to pull it together. They may take people from all over the community, as far as we know, outside the historic district. I mean, they may pick, you know, a builder.
Well, we recommended the DDA have
We
a
did.
person on it as well.
We did suggest that. So I think we need to, but if we said we have these HDC members that are willing to participate, and they've signed on right now, then
I don't
let
think
it go.
that's strong enough.
How much stronger can we go?
I think that one of the things as we have seen, and I understand that the city administration's got a lot of things on their plate, and other things to do, but I think we have seen that the only way this is going to get pushed is if we push it. I don't see that the city, I mean, they're worried about, they don't want to own the building. I understand from what we've heard. I think we need to appoint someone from this commission to be our designee for that task force.
I think that's you, Ed. You know,
To
or Nancy,
push it.
one or the other. You know?
I mean, because you've got to, I think it's going to be up to us to keep this on the front burner, and how quickly it could come to a head is evident when you begin to hear things like the utility bill isn't paid for them.
You know, another perspective is
That's all.
the city doesn't really want to pay for it. They're like, oh, don't put this back on us, you know,
Right.
kind of a thing. That's obvious. That's sort of where the city government has come from in the past, but this also was some years back when this building was purchased and taken on by the current owner. We're in a little bit of a different community as the community grows and changes, and at that time we really didn't have this Historic District Commission being as involved in the community and up and running as it is now, you know. But the City Commission, it just kind of the way that it's like, well, what's going on? We aren't hearing back, and I think they would love it if basically we were the task force. Yes, and they gave a token person from whatever, if there's a legality issue of we have to have a city council member, or we have to have somebody from the planning commission, or whatever. I'm just throwing that out there. Whatever organizations or bodies that legally they would need a representative from, I think they'd almost rather that we're the task force and they give the token person or two that has to legally make it go.
Could we put that request in the letter, just to the fact that we'd be willing to take the lead on creating the task force?
And I think they'd jump at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could ask that question, but I know that there's people on the DDA that are interested. I talked to people on the Arts Council that are interested. So I think we've got several people out there. I mean, we'd have to do due diligence here to make sure we get a good representation. But we need probably an attorney. We probably need an accountant. You know, we're going to need to get a good mixture of some people that are going to have that background.
I don't think we need the attorney and the accountant. The process has to be handled by hired pros from the city anyhow. What we were talking about is a task force that would help develop what's the potential here, what can we do to get this off the dime. And it will help the current owners as much as anybody. I mean, the fact that we've discussed this now, it's been in the minutes, they've been served, and they've not come back, we've not heard from them, is also very telling, I think.
Well, the thing that we did recommend that we voted on was a foreclosure process, and that is happening.
Right.
So that we did do, and it is happening, but it's the task force that's not happening, and I don't know what, if anything, has been discussed on that, because I sure haven't heard anything about it. And I know we've thrown our hat
But
in the
see,
ring.
the lack of information back to us makes me think they're apathetic to the whole topic.
That's the thing, you don't know the truth.
I think we have to assume that.
I mean,
They certainly aren't as concerned about the timetable as we are.
Well, even the foreclosure, the fact that we don't have anything more than we did a month or so ago. It's
Right.
okay, foreclosures in what does that mean?
Right.
What are the steps and where are we in the you know what I mean? We haven't, and is it that someone is, not picking up the phone and taking the next step in the chain? Or is it that someone else is simply purposely not answering their phone because they, it's kind of stopping it in its tracks sort of a thing, or slowing it down? So if we're sitting here and thinking that something else is happening and it's moving forward, maybe it's not. That's kind of an important part of it too. If they're
Could we put the names there of those who are willing to serve then, and appoint somebody who is going to be here for the next 3 months to be our liaison, the leader from this group?
I nominate you, Ed.
I'll second that.
That's fine.
What do you think, man?
No, it's fine, it's fine. I want to include that in this letter.
Right,
Yeah.
that's my point.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I think we need to
That's fine.
show them
sure.
we're taking the push here.
You bet. I think the way I'm going to word this, too, based on what I'm hearing, is that this task force should be able to work with the current owners, and the goals would be to work on some repurposing options for that building.
Possibilities, I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, how it could be repurposed, and also, may also include working with the owners and their designated real estate agents, whatever, whoever they are, because those people need to be involved in this too. And come up with some plans for repurposing. And that's basically it. And I think part of this might involve doing some surveys in the community. But I think we are going to need to get a pretty widespread participation here, because I think it's important that we get some of these. I know, for a fact of at least 3 different people that have talked about that building and having ideas for it, and they're all very different people from very different areas, and they represent different groups. So it's important that we do that. It can't just be one, isolated group. We've got to make sure that we pick the brains and work with a number of people, cross-section.
Sure, but at this point also, we are the ones designated by the city to keep an eye on that. building
Correct.
in the first place. I mean,
Right.
we're...
To protect it.
Yeah, and I thought the wording in the minutes and in the report, Mike, were very good about the Historic District Commission taking the lead.
Right.
I thought it was
just
important to
a
include.
Yep.
good political way to put it.
I thought it was important to include.
It's right in the ordinance, too. That it does
Right.
say that right in the
That's
ordinance.
right.
You can pull it right out of there,
That's right.
that's part of our charge. So I think we can use that wording, definitely. Okay, why don't we do that, and then we'll appoint Ed as our liaison. Pardon?
I think a letter's a great idea. I mean, there's no question that from a visual standpoint,
Yeah.
this group, clearly, you've got a passion for the building that you don't see elsewhere, and that's good. It's part of what you do here. So I don't see a problem there. Part of me, I understand, sorta, kinda, why maybe we didn't hear more in December, just, seeing how our offices were and some other offices with the 2 holidays and just seeing how many people, you know what I mean, people just weren't around to do certain things, but that's just a 2-month period. But, I mean, absolutely, keep pushing,
Okay,
keep pushing.
let's get a motion for what we've just discussed. The fact that we're going to create a letter and that we are going to recommend that a task force be created and that the HDC is willing to take a lead on this, and that we have these 4 members, these 4 commissioners that are willing to serve on that, and that, and I'll explain, our intent is to work with the current owners and help create some repurposing options, etc., and that we've elected Ed as our liaison for this project. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll make that motion. I don't know why I can't make that motion.
Yeah, I think,
Is there a second?
I'll second. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
In that motion, we'll also ask, Mike, that we get a monthly
Yes.
update.
Yeah, put that in the letter. Put that...
I will.
Yeah.
I've got it down in the letter.
But let's put it in a motion form, in that motion as well.
Okay, can we amend that motion to include that it should have a monthly update on the utilities and the foreclosure process?
Sure.
Okay.
That gives you certain
We need to vote again?
No, I think you can make that...
support, Mike, as well, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe we should. Let's just go ahead and do it. I'll make a recommendation to include that amendment, that we get a monthly update on utilities and foreclosure process on the Cobbs and Mitchell building as well. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
One other thing, too, you had mentioned, because I remember some years back, too, before Cobbs and Mitchell went to the new owner, how, no one was looking to buy it. They were looking for viable buyers, viable developers, all these kinds of things. You also did have, at that time, a lot of excitement and ideas coming forth from different sectors, like the Arts Council folks.
Right.
And, so the different agendas on the table, none of which really had money to bring to the table, to take the building and run with it and develop it per se. But, again, all of that has moved forward too. So, I know we look at, we want a community, a nice community representation, because this is a community asset when when in the foreclosure it's coming back to the city, it's now the people's building again, but then to also, within the task force to make sure too that everyone, understands it's not necessarily being handed to one group or another, but that
that's what a task
whoever's
force-
most viable,
Right, but that's what the task
Yeah.
force is about, is to explore options, right?
Yeah,
And that's why
right.
I think there should be
A broader-
somebody in there that's a banker and somebody else that can help speak to some of those things, who may be able to step up and say, we might be able to put something together here if we do this, this, and this, something that no one else has thought of.
Yeah.
Because then you can start putting some,
I think that's a
you know what I
good
mean?
idea.
Project, so that's the
More
point.
Have any of you been involved in a charrette?
Yes,
That's really what you're
yes,
talking about here.
right.
Is let's see if we can bring this to the point of the task force doing a charrette on the
Right.
future of the Cobbs and Mitchell building.
What is a charrette?
It's like a gathering of information where it's a task force or study force that looks at a project like this and brings in a cross-section of the community. And they will ask specific questions to get you to the end here, which is, what ideas do you have for the building? And then how can we make that work? And what do you have in your community as far as resources go right now? Financial, labor, blah, 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 so that you can make this happen. And you kind of keep boiling it down. It's usually like a process that you go through that might take 3 or 4 weeks to go through.
Or at least, and often involves a public hearing process about it, where everybody comes in, or you get local, where I've seen it, there were university students involved in the architecture and urban planning process who came up with ideas for, it's kind of an interesting...
Usually bring in an independent person to do it, because they've got to be somebody from outside the town that can help.
Party objective.
Yeah, and they will study the leaders in the community, and they'll, consider the resources, and they'll have a lot of statistical information already in place, so there'll be a little bit of background work done, and, we'll give them like all the information we've got on this building, which we've got quite a bit on this building already that's been done. There's been a feasibility study done on it, and several other things. So there's a lot of things, and they're going to have, they could get the drawings.
You mentioned the drawings.
They're available. Yep, and all of the, we know what's involved with all the tax credits, because that's already been approved, so that's public knowledge as far as the projected building repairs and that they were going to do. So having all of that information, you don't have to recreate the wheel.
Right.
And that would all go in as, so anyway. But that could be a really helpful thing. Yeah, we've done that before.
To have like you were saying, do we need all these different like maybe perhaps not a lawyer, I don't know, because the city essentially would have oversight over this anyway, and they have their own legal team, but like you were saying, a banking or an accountant or whatever, because in the past when these ideas were coming up, you had a lot of groups were kind of coming together and powwowing because of interest in an art center sort of situation,
Right.
Which didn't end up coming together, and part of that is it might help to have those folks that can bridge that gap for the different groups in finding some common interests that can possibly make the building viable, whether it be private or public.
Correct.
Or nonprofit,
Right.
So,
Or a combination.
Right.
yeah.
It could be a combination
right.
too, so that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move forward on that letter, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody, for your input on that.
Actually, I'd mentioned the minutes. Council will get the minutes you approved today, so they actually won't get tonight's minutes on Tuesday. Because I haven't done them yet, they haven't been approved. But
we
the
could
letter-
have Dan could draft the letter
I
to
get the
get
letter.
there by Tuesday.
In the next
Absolutely.
couple of days.
Oh, absolutely.
You need it tomorrow? The letter tomorrow?
I don't think so.
Well, I can get it tomorrow. I'm not
I would
taking any
think if
chances.
you got it,
Well, you're leaving. Well, no, I'm not leaving for another week, but, yeah.
You want to come to the council meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
Tuesday
I'll be
night?
gone. See, I'm going to be gone next
Tuesday
Tuesday.
night?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, because it's next Tuesday.
I'll, I would
The
say
20th, we're leaving town that
Wednesday's
day.
fine.
We're leaving town the day before.
And I'll let Sandy, the city clerk, know that,
I'll get it into you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll get it done tomorrow morning.
You're
Okay.
going to Tuesday for the next 2 months.
Actually, next Monday, we're leaving, the 19th. The reason the city council meeting is on Tuesday next week is
Martin
because
Luther
Monday
King
is
Day.
Martin Luther King Day. That's the day we're leaving, and we'll be gone until April. So we'll be gone February and March.
So would it behoove us for Ed to go to this meeting?
I'm going to be at the council
the-
meeting anyway.
And the
Tuesday
meeting, the letter
Certainly you could
is there
speak,
anyway?
yeah, on behalf of us in the letter.
If
I don't know why not.
we can, that's fine.
Your letter's gonna mention Ed as the liaison.
Yeah, I don't know why not.
For the time being, yeah.
I think it'd be
Perfect.
great. Be
It'd
great.
be wonderful, for you to be officially requested for the letter, and Ed to be part of the agenda, for that night versus just
That's
something on
something
their
you can,
desk,
we can recommend to Marcus, and I could certainly send that in my email when I send it to him.
Oh, thank you,
We'll
Ed.
do that. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, on the certified local government, I don't know if Ed was here, and so was Pat, or Dean, for another reason, but I did speak to the City Council on December 16th about the certified local government, did a little mini presentation, and they all seemed very much in favor of it. They have gotten in touch, and we have sort of together with the SHPO representative, and a resolution should be passed by the City Council to approve the CLG application. So that is going to be done according to Jerry's email to me a few days ago at the January 20th meeting. They're supposed to pass a resolution
On the CLG.
for the CLG application. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's another thing that's supposed to happen that day.
Okay.
So,
January 20th.
January 20th.
yeah, next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. So, we gotta make sure that gets done too,
Okay.
and then we gotta get that application going, which I've offered to help with if the
Is
city...
there anything else they need for that meeting from you, or?
Nothing
us,
from,
or-
no, because we've already done our spiel, they already like it, they just gotta pass a resolution. The only other thing that was part of that is there had to be a letter coming from the mayor, and they know that. And the mayor should be signing a letter stating that, you know, they passed the resolution and that they are in favor of it, and the mayor is endorsing it. So, they're aware of all that, and that's what's supposed to be happening. I can certainly follow up again on that too, with an email. When does the agenda get established, technically? Is it,
Usually Wednesday, the actual agenda usually should be, Sandy, I believe, will work on it Wednesday, get it finalized. Things get added after, but they're normally just city manager updates.
okay, and this could be coming in under the city manager's report, because that's how I did the presentation.
Sure.
Which I was a little bit surprised at that, but that's, because basically Marcus Pescia has said that that is under one of his goals as a city manager for 2015. So I think it's going to show up under the city manager's, Report.
As it has in the past.
yeah, I think that's what's going to happen there. But, okay, so that's just a little update, that's moving along.
It's
So,
taken along.
that's a good
and
thing.
We included it in the goals activities for 2015.
Right, saw that.
We did, I did include that, so just up there.
Okay. Okay, any tabled items? No. Any other informational items?
I have one item. If you folks go first.
I have nothing.
We've talked in the past about workshops, and basically, as we all know, the survey that was sent out, we got a couple of responses, was all. But I got talking with some fellow staff, and idea came up, and they said, well, what about workshops that like Home Depot and they do? Should we maybe put them on our Facebook page, put them on our website to let the public know about them, just to make people aware? And so I've been kind of looking at them, and sure enough, there was one last Sunday that I think would be very applicable to anybody, but it had to do with flooring. And the only thing we're checking on with that is, because as a policy, we do not endorse any specific, for example, contractor, builder, surveyor, architect. People will say, well, can you recommend a licensed surveyor? Well, we actually can't recommend them, but there are ones listed in the phone book, etc., etc. So we're just trying to make sure if we were, and I mean, we may do it regardless of this commission, but if we don't see a potential problem there, we very well may in the future. For example, if there's a workshop at one of the building supply companies in town that we think might be helpful to people, we may just put it on our website that, contact them or another building supply company who happens to be doing it.
Okay, I have some concerns with it being part of the HDC, just from the standpoint that the workshops that we have talked about are ones that would be in line with the Secretary of Interior standards.
Right.
And that's why you've got to pay for them. I mean, and that's why you've got to get the experts in and bring them up. But, I mean, a Home Depot, you don't want to get into a situation where they're going to say, just get rid of all of those old brackets on the outside and get some new ones here. You know, I would be a little concerned about those types of workshops where you're not following the Secretary of Interior standards, trying to repair before you replace. And I'm not sure that we would want to just endorse people, well, we can't afford to do the real workshops that should be very helpful to you, so here, we're just going to send you off there.
Sure.
I have a real concern about endorsing it as the HDC, because I can guarantee you they will not follow the Secretary of Interior standard. It'll be hit and miss. And we can't endorse that.
It wouldn't be, first off, you've helped me, because that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
And that's helpful. Obviously, if something were, it wouldn't mention the HDC in particular, but I think that's a valid point, because I know there were some reservations from some others.
Yeah.
And, but that's why I threw it out there.
You don't know anything about what they're teaching. We don't have any idea. These other ones we know.
Right. Okay.
Because it states right in there, you know, what they're endorsing and what they teach.
That's helpful.
Yeah. I would be very concerned about that.
Good, thank you for, I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm glad I brought it up.
So am I. Okay, anybody have any other public comments? Okay. I think we can move for adjournment. Thank you guys very much. I think we got some stuff accomplished today, and
We almost made more headway with 4 people than we do with 7.
we're making headway, but it's like slow but sure. But we're just kicking these all up a notch.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Is this where we bring up